What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Immersive Engineering, and today, guys, we're going to be working on automating the arc furnace. So we made this a couple episodes ago, and I mentioned that we might be using it a little bit, but I've decided between then and now that I really do want to use it a lot, especially because it can process a bunch of different things at once, and it makes things really fast. So first things first, we actually need to power this thing, because if you guys remember, it chugs like 512 RF per tick when you're cooking anything down, and I believe if you're cooking more than one thing down, it will use that much per thing you're cooking down. So it can suck a lot of power out. So I don't want to actually be using the water wheels and stuff from up here because that's not going to generate enough power. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a little bit of a trip outside, and we're going to be making a bunch of new pretty low tier power generation today. So right over here, I've cut out this whole area, and this is going to be for a bunch of different water wheels. And the reason I decided on water wheels was because, we've got a ton of creosote coming from the steel factory, and I thought it'd be really easy to make. So I did calculations, pretty rough calculations, but assuming we get each of these to 30 RF per tick, 3 of them per kinetic dynamo, we need like I think it's 5.6 kinetic dynamos, so we'll be going a little bit over, and that will generate enough RF per tick to actually run that thing. So we're going to set it up right in here, and I've kind of spaced it out. I think it looks pretty nice, and it'll look pretty cool eventually. And the nice thing is that I plan on making this go like really far down, so I'm going to layer this whenever we need more power, just all the way down to bedrock eventually, just because why not mess around with different ways of generating power instead of just using the diesel generation over there. So we're going to come down here and we're going to set this up really quick, and then we can get into the actual automation part of this, because I do want to automate the inputs and all that stuff and the outputs for the whole system. But first, obviously, we need to get the power. So we're going to be using 1 kinetic dynamo and 3 water wheels per section. And of course, there's 6 sections, so we need 6 dynamos and 18 water wheels. So I made it so we're going to put the dynamos right here, and then we get to hook up the water wheels just like this. And I have this little portion right here just so that we can get out, and we'll fill this in later. And then we're going to put water down on the top and cover the rest of it with glass. So we'll be able to get the power right from here, and then we can wire it right over to this wall. And I think if we break this wall right here, we should be somewhere relatively close to the arc furnace room. It's somewhere right around like here, so I'll have to figure out where that is exactly, but we're going to set them all up like this, and it actually should be relatively easy, just because I tried to make it so that we're prepped before every episode, so you guys get to see me setting this up, but you don't have to see me digging all this out, which actually took a decent chunk of time because I've still not enchanted my pick, nor have I made a drill. And I should do one of those too. I've been sitting at like 53 levels for a really long time. I haven't gone mining it a little bit, but if I die, I'm losing a ton of XP. So that's not great. Okay, so we're almost done here. And there are more effective ways to do this when it comes to like layering these on top of each other, but I think this looks really cool, and I think it'll look really cool when we have glass in the ceiling too. I don't think I have nearly enough glass in my inventory, but I'm cooking some down in there, so we should be okay. So now we need to get back up top so we can actually start setting the water down, and first we should be able to just toss this right here and fill this in just so that we don't have any issues with water spilling all over the place. And I should have brought some ladders because we're going to be going up and down a lot, but we can just pillar up using cobblestone for now. So we need to get an infinite pool, and I think over there should be fine. I think this works as an infinite pool over here. So we're going to use these 3 buckets that I have, and we are just going to put it down right here. Now, one thing I want to stress is that when I first showed you guys using the water wheel, I put the bucket right on top of this block. Now, I was told that that doesn't generate the maximum amount of RF per tick, and that you actually want it, like this is the middle block on the top, you want it set back by 1. And I guess it kind of makes sense because like if this is the source block, then you want a flowing block right on top of it, because even though this looks like it's flowing, it's technically like the source block. So I'm going to try it like this, and I'll do a little bit more testing just to be sure, but I'm fairly positive that this is the best setup, and then you have to wrap it around the bottom too. So this thing should be generating pretty much its maximum RF per tick, so the full set of water wheels should be getting 90 RF per tick, and we can just fill this back up over here. And we're going to have to do a couple trips just because I don't feel like we want to make a ton of buckets just to speed this up a little bit. And you know what, I don't need to do that because this right here should be able to just grab from, what? Oh, I guess it doesn't, I guess that's weird because it's like, I don't know, I guess it doesn't want to refill that with water. So I guess we will have to come back over here. That's unfortunate. I don't know why it does that. It's probably because it's spinning on top of that, but that is a little peculiar. And I'm going to need to eat some food too. So one thing I want to discuss right now, and you know, if you guys are just coming here to see the automation part of this, you probably don't care. But for those of you that have been sticking around for like the whole series, I usually post a video every other day. And it's been, I think, like 2 days or 3 days maybe since the last video. That is mainly just because I just got back to college. So I returned like 2 or 3 days ago and classes just started up again. So kind of getting back into the swing of things, and I have to work around my roommate's schedule. So finding times where it's easy to record, it's going to be a little difficult. So what I'll probably end up doing is still being able to get a video out like every other day. But I'm probably going to have to record like 5 in a row over the weekend and then just upload them throughout the week. So... do we have one more that we need, or did we get every single one? Okay, we need this one. Yeah, sorry, that was my rambling for today. Okay, so these should all be spinning. Very nice. Just make sure, yep. Okay, so they're all spinning. So we can head down now, and we can hook up the medium voltage cables and wire them along. Actually, you know what, we're going to need to put glass on the top eventually, too. And you know, this is probably super loud, just because we got all this moving water around us. But... we can easily just hook this up like this, and like this, and I guess I'll put one like right here. We'll do it like this, and we can wire it right over our heads and just kind of connect them all into this. So we'll do it like this, and then I'll probably just end up putting stuff on the ceiling so that we can wire it in. So it's probably going to be pretty important that we get that glass down soon. Oh gosh, all this water noise. Oh, that's not where we want it. I want it right there. Okay, so that should be all of them wired up, and now we got to get back up here. Oh my gosh, guys. How do I get back up? Let's get some of this cobblestone out. You guys always tell me I should carry around, like, I think someone said aluminum scaffolding, which is actually probably a really good idea because it's really cheap, easy to break, and easy to just set up. Maybe I'll fence these off. That might look really cool. But I think we should be able to just put glass here, and then fill in the rest. And this whole thing could... I don't even know if we want glass here. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We'll fill this in with glass for now, and then I'll decide if I want to use glass, because there's like no one's going to be coming down here, so I really don't feel like there's any point in having glass there. So we can just put stone right there. We can fill these in with stone, and the main reason I said we could fence this off is just because I don't really want mobs falling in there, because then I don't know, we might catch zombies in there and they'll just kind of sit there if they get caught in the water stream, and then they won't burn during the day. So it's not really a big deal. But with the water wheels that are over there, just kind of for aesthetics and for powering the really cheap things in our base, I know monsters will get caught in that and then they'll die, and you can actually hear them die while I'm recording, so that's pretty funny. But we're gonna have to go in and grab some more glass soon. So we want to have a stone block right here to wire it on, just so that we can place the thing down there. I think that'll look nice. And same thing right here, we'll want a stone block, and we're just a little bit short on glass. Okay, so we can go in and grab some glass and then head back out here and finish this up, and then we can get into the automation. And the automation for the actual arc furnace is not really that difficult to do. It's mainly just going to be separating the main inputs from like the, I don't even know, it's like additives or whatever you want to call it. Okay, so we got a lot of this stuff cooking down in here. I'm pretty much just cooking down all the cobble that I was getting from like digging that out there. Okay, so we can finish filling this in and hopefully get inside before it becomes nighttime, so we don't have to worry about sleeping the night away. Okay, so I think that should be okay for the time being. So we can hop down here now, and you know what I'm going to do? We're going to turn down this music, or the master volume just in general a little bit for now, and I will turn it back up once we're out of here, just so that it's not super loud. So I actually think this looks really cool, and I think it'll look even cooler once we have this wired up here. And we're probably going to need a couple more wires, or we might be having just enough right now. I'm not sure. Might need to make one more set. So I think this looks really cool in here, and it'll look even cooler when I get some good lights. And now the real thing is we got to get down here and find, oh, okay, so here, oh, wow, okay, so here's where the power is coming to the arc furnace room. So I've made a high voltage capacitor just so that we can kind of, if we're not running anything in here and then we decide to throw a bunch in there at once, that we have a little bit of a buffer. So I think what we're going to do is mine out right here, and I think the best way to go about it would be to put the capacitor maybe right here, so that we can easily pull out into this room. So we'll put that right there, and then we're going to have to change this side so it has the blue and orange on it. There we go. So that is the input now. You know, we could actually input it on the top. That might look better, just so that it stays level. I know I'm wasting stone, guys. Okay, so it's already set at the input at the top, and now we can wire it in there. And there we go. Okay, so this should be getting power. I think I do. Okay, so let's check what this is at for power. So that is going up quite steadily. Obviously, I can't really gauge it. We actually could get something to gauge the power that's going through this cable right here. But, you know, it's really not that important, considering you can kind of calculate it. I'll check later and see off camera. And I might permanently hook one up kind of right over here just so that we can see. But trying to think how I want to get in here. I might actually make a door right over here to actually access this, or make a hatch somewhere. I don't know. But now we need to disconnect this from the power over there, because I do want to keep this system right over here hooked up to the power from upstairs, and I want this system to be completely on its own power. So it looks like everything should be good, the last of this, and we should be able to just whack this with the engineering hammer and pull the power out of this side. So there we go, and this should be able to, we actually are probably going to want to run it right here. This is really odd right now, because it's kind of like a, you know, we'll run it right over here, just because I was thinking about putting it like right here, but then I was like, no, that would make me feel really stupid, just transporting it like one block. So this thing should be getting power again, and we should be able to wire this over here. And this has actually been bothering me. I noticed this when I first set this up, that for some reason I was trying to put it like right here, and for some reason I offset it by 1, and we can't stack those because they're trying to connect to it. So I want to put this right here, and these are trying to connect over there, I think. Yeah, okay. And then we gotta connect that. Okay, so all this should be getting power from outside right now, and this should still be filling up. So for now, I'm probably just gonna fill this in right here, because I'll probably end up making some other way to access it. But we now are getting power to this, and I kind of am tempted to try running it. The only problem is we won't be able to actually see unless we're standing between this and the capacitor if we're actually gaining power. But if my calculations are correct, we should be gaining power in this thing, just very slightly, because 5.6 of them at 30 RF per tick, 3 per kinetic dynamo at 90 RF per tick per dynamo should take 5.6. So if we're at 6 of them, we should be getting a little bit more. So everything should be good here. And now it comes to actually automating this. So we have the output set so that we're getting the slag out the back, and it's just going into this chest right here. And we're getting the regular outputs out the front going into this chest right here. So what I want to do is have a chest where we can dump pretty much everything in there, and it will get put into either the, well, let me get up here, either the left side, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get on top of this thing. So this side is where you're going to be putting in these right over here, this 3x4, which is going to be the main stuff. Like you'd put ores in there, you'd put any ingots you want to cook down. And I guess I can show you guys. So stuff like this copper ingot or this copper grit will be going to the left side at that 3x4. And then the nickel grit is kind of like the quote unquote additive or whatever you're adding in there. And that is what goes to this 4x4. So if you see these recipes, typically most of this stuff is going to be in the main slot, and then sometimes you'll have an additive like onto it. So the way I'm thinking about separating this is by having an item router. And I think the best place to put this is probably going to be, it might be like right here, because I don't want the chest to be way too high up. So, you know, putting the chest like right here would work. And you can access the chest, and then it'll, you know, dump everything in here, and it would make like a buffer. I think it's a little bit annoying that the chests you can't like have them automatically output into there, and you kind of have to use a hopper, but that's fine by me. So we have the chest here, we dump everything in here. It goes into the east side of the hopper, and then we want majority of our stuff to come out the south side. So what I'm thinking we do is set nothing to the south side, and then we're going to set everything over here to the north side. Because if you think about it, we can put, you know, unused gear in there, we can put unused tools in there, and all that stuff can get cooked down, and then ores can, and we're not going to be able to filter all of that out using only 8 different filters. But I think we will be able to filter most of the different additives out using only 8 filters. So we're going to pretty much do this, where we're going to slap this down, and we're going to need to get it right up here, and it should be actually pretty easy to do that. We'll get out the drop-in conveyor belt, and this should work fine dropping into here. And one thing I'm trying to be a little bit cautious about is we're going to do it like this. So we could just run it all in this direction, but the reason that I want to rotate it so it's actually pointing inward like this is because if we were to throw an item here, let's throw stone, and stone won't go in there because it's not any additive, but you know, if an item were to, or if this were to be completely full on whatever you're adding in there, it would push it into this instead of just pushing it off, and if a slot did open up, then it would drop down. So this just kind of makes it so it'll stay on this conveyor belt because it can't be pushed into this block. And you know, if we really wanted to, we could just put a block right on top of this, but I think it looks better like this. So we need to throw, oh, you know what, we can't put a block here. I thought we could put a block here. Can we still maneuver it around here like this? I think we should be able to do it like this, and it should get on top of this and then just get held right there. So we can test this out and make sure that this can eject onto here. It should be able to. So let's just set it, that's actually the only output, so it should be ejecting it right onto there. Yep, and it will sit up here. So we should be good, and we can actually, I guess we could test this with some steel. I think, yeah, so first things first, actually, I want to set this up so that this side is done too, and it'll be the same setup, and we can just rotate this, and I don't think this one will ever get full just because it's got, you know, 12 different slots to actually put it into, but we should be okay like this, and now it should be able to separate them, assuming that we actually take this and, you know, filter things out. And it's a little annoying right here how you have to maneuver yourself around, but we should be able to do that fine. So if we take a look at the recipe for steel, and let's just, can we find it down here real quick? There we go. So look at steel, and you got the blast furnace, and then you have the arc furnace. So you need coke dust and iron. So I think we might actually have some coke dust up here left over from while I was making the electrodes. So let's take a look in here. You can see we got that nice glitchy block right there that I'm afraid to get rid of because I don't want to crash the game. Okay, maybe we might need to make some coke dust. I'm not sure. I'm not really seeing any in here. I might have turned it into ingots completely. Yeah, I'm thinking I did. Which is fine, you know, we can make it real quick, and then we'll just grab some iron out of there. So we should actually have some leftover coke down here in the setup, so we can just dump this coal in here, because why not turn it into coal coke? And do we have any extra in here? Yeah, we do. So we can grab a bunch of this out, just make sure that there's no excess sitting up there. And we're going to have to crush it upstairs and grab it before it actually goes into here. Oh, this is still processing? Awesome. So we can dump it in here without having to worry about it getting immediately cooked down. You know, we'll just throw all 32 in there. Let it run. And we only need a little bit. Okay, so we'll just take the one piece for now. And we should be able to come down here and set this so that it is going out. Which side was that again? It's north. So this will be going through the north side. And we're not going to set anything for iron. So it should just get automatically output the other side. So we'll dump, you know, the 34 iron in there, the coke dust in there, and we're going to have to wait, obviously, because you're using the hopper, so it's only going to go one side at a time. But this should all be going in there, and you can see it separates it like this. So this is the fastest way for it to process, but this is where it's going to chug through power. So you can see it's processing one of these, and I think we can actually come over here, and if we were to go and break this really quick and get out our... Where is it? Right here. Okay. Couldn't find it for a second. And we click on this. You can see that it is still filling up while it's running. Still filling up. And this thing should still... Oh, it already finished. Okay. I didn't realize that it already finished. But I think we should be okay with the power in this whole setup. And then if we look down here, we should get, yeah, one more steel. And if we look back here, we should have one more slag. So... assuming that we set this thing up just for each kind of thing that we're going to process, eventually it'll be set up for all of them so we can dump anything in here and it'll be good. One thing I do need to be cautious about is like right here, if we dump all this iron in here, like an excess amount of iron, it'll fill it up. And then if we don't use that and we go to use something else, we'll have to remember to take the iron out. But I think this whole system should be, for the most part, automated. One thing I want to point out is, I'm not sure if I'm just doing it wrong, and you guys may know better than me, but I've looked it up, I've tried countless times to actually automatically input the graphite electrodes. And according to the wiki, according to multiple different sources, you should be able to input these electrodes automatically using the top center of the vat, which I believe is right where they are right now. So this is the top center of the vat, and I've tried using hoppers to input them there, conveyor belts to input them there, and nothing seems to work. I've tried inputting them in different spots, so I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, or if it just it doesn't input unless you're using pipes, or if that's false information. But if I do find a way, I will post it. Eventually I'll show you guys, or I'll post it in the comments. And of course, if you guys have a way to do this that I'm just not aware of, feel free to let me know. One thing though is you're always going to have to handcraft the actual electrodes themselves, because, and this is a pretty solid balancing mechanic, but you can't automatically craft stuff from this table. So what I would suggest is, even if you do find a way to automate it, I would craft just a bunch of these electrodes and put them in a chest, because every 477 crafts or processes of this machine, it's going to need more. So if you craft like a full chest of them just all at once, and then put them down here, whether you have to manually insert them, automatically insert them, any of that, it's probably the best idea to just craft a bunch at once, and then whenever you need them, just replace them. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, or just enjoyed it in general, feel free to give it a like. It really helps me out a lot. And as always, if you have any feedback or questions, post them in the comments. That's what I'm here for, to help you guys out. So I will talk to you guys later.